Hi, and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's review for The Expanse Season 5, Episode 3, Mother. This video is a part of a series of videos where I review episodes of The Expanse. I'll have to start with a spoiler warning for Season 5, Episode 3 of The Expanse. If you have not seen up to this point, you will not want to watch this video, otherwise some things will be spoiled for you. So, finally, gotten to the third of the 3 episodes that dropped, and boy, this was a bit of a doozy. This is probably was a bit slower paced than the first 2. They spend a lot of time with Alex on his little date, and a lot of time with Drummer sort of messing around on her ship, and a lot of time with like Naomi running around the station. So not as much happened in this episode, but I still really liked it. I still thought it was a really good episode, really strong. Of course, that ending was incredibly strong. So yeah, let's start on Drummer's ship. They finally found Klaus Ashford's ship. She never thought she would. She found it, and there she was looking for some data, some information, because she was certain that he would have left something behind. And we get more of her her crew, whom I think she's in a relationship with all of them. If it's staying true to the books, it is, or maybe it's just a one woman. I'm not so sure. But anyway, so she finally finds in the airlock, she finds the message hidden that was the recording that Ashford recorded before he died, of Marco sort of hinting at he was going to throw asteroids at Earth. And so everyone on Drummer's ship's all celebrating. They're all happy at the score. And Drummer's obviously like really upset and pissed off and sad. And no one seems to notice. And then she says, "Oh yes, great job everyone. So now we're going to go find Marco and Ars and collect the bounty on him." And everyone's just like, huh? And it's obvious that she was sort of predetermined, eaten up by what happened to Ashford. Now, what I liked, like these scenes were really cool. Like I liked the scene where she first entered the ship and they were playing sort of the audio of Drummer telling Marco that he could go from season 4 when they had Marco trapped in the airlock, but she was the deciding vote that freed Marco and Aris. And so I like that because that's really sort of gives you a hint of what's going on inside her head, and that she's feeling incredible guilt for doing that. That she is like completely guilt-ridden because here she sees that she let Marco go and Marco killed Ashford, so she's indirectly responsible for Ashford's death. And I think that's part of the reason why she's so gung-ho to go after Marco, is not just to get revenge on Marco, but to quell her guilt, because she feels guilty for letting Marco go, so she wants to finish the job so he doesn't do any more damage. And that's very interesting, but of course her lover comes in and realizes it's a bad idea and that they could die and it's not really what they do, and convinces Drummer to let it go. That it's just, and he pretty much tells her that she's just letting her guilt and need for revenge sort of drive her to do things that are unsafe. And I like they have that, I believe it's whiskey, sort of as a prop, and she mentions how she gave it to Ashford as a gift, but he refused to take it, saying that they would drink it together. And she even says that she says, what if I went with him? And her lover is like, well, maybe you would have just died with him, like you would be dead too. But she's like, maybe we'd be drinking this together. Yeah, I think those are very powerful scenes. But Drummer was convinced to let it go, which in this case, I don't think it was the right decision. I think it's another thing she may regret, that actually going after Marco would probably be the right thing to do. it is what it is. So, also, we get more on Tycho Station. We get Monica Stewart is recovering, and she plays the recording that she was warning Holden about, that apparently some people had raided Sirius Station and kidnapped Kotazar. And it's good to see Kotazar. I haven't seen him since season 2. And so that was the scientist that was studying the protomolecule. So apparently, like, Dawes had him and Fred Johnson had the protomolecule sample. So together, they had the two most powerful things. But now Dawes is taken. I mean, now Kotazar was taken from Dawes, and I think I thought maybe they were studying the protomolecule there and they took it, but then I was listening to the dialogue between Holden and Johnson, and it sounds like that they haven't taken the protomolecule and they're afraid that they will. And so they're locking down Tycho Station, well, keeping it in lockdown, shall I say. And so they try to investigate on who is responsible, and they track the shipping containers to these brothers, saying, aha, they must have been involved. So they go with a big raiding party to arrest them, open the door, and they're already dead. that was pretty interesting. And so now they come up with a ploy because there's a ship coming to collect Monica Stewart, and they believe she's still in the container. So Bull wants to put like a raiding party in the container, so when they open up the container, surprise, and they'll kill everyone, or not kill everyone. Holden specifically said don't kill everyone, but they'll take over the ship, and try to get more information. So we'll see how this goes. So far, they've been pretty well ahead of Holden and Johnson, but we'll see where that goes. So Mars, we got, as I said, Alex went on a super long date, which is funny because the Admiral guy in the previous episode told his aide, just like, you learn why he's here, and she didn't really do anything to learn why he's there. She just was chatting him up and flattering him the whole time. Oh, you look so special. And eventually, apparently, Alex saw through it, because when Bobby asked how the date went, she's like, she wasn't really into me. Because he could tell that she was just acting. So I don't get what the whole point is, because then those people came and shocked Alex and knocked him out and put the truth serum in. Couldn't they have done that without the whole date thing? I mean, I guess they need the date thing to know where he'd be at a specific time, but I don't know. That kind of seems unnecessary to me. It seems like it was a bit of a waste of time. But it was interesting getting the perspective that most people perceive Alex as sort of a hero through all the stuff that he did. It's really interesting to contrast that with Bobby Draper, who they see as a traitor, but yet they kind of both work together to do the same thing. But whatever. It is that was pretty interesting. So anyway, so the people come and shock him and put the truth serum in, and of course Bobby Draper shows up in the nick of time. It's always good seeing her kick some ass. And I like how they accidentally put the truth serum in that one woman who had put it in Alex, and that she was being all giddy when the police were dragging her away. But I wonder if, because the police have them, but they now know what Alex and Bobby are up to. They know that Bobby's involved. They know that they're trying to track a Martian conspiracy of selling Martian technology to Belters. So they could get even if these two people stay in prison, in jail, but it seems unlikely since Bobby already mentioned the police are involved in this. They still would warn the Admiral guy, who I think is obvious now that he's involved in this, what's going on. But they come up with a plan to use the Razorback to track and follow that aide person who apparently is going out on the trip, which they assume is to sell weapons. So another interesting lead. We'll see where that one goes. Then you got Naomi and her sort of arriving on Palace, and then having having those people trying to con her, but then her old friends show up and beat them up and get rid of them, and then she had to drink with her older friend, one of which, like, that big dude was apparently is like really sort of friendly and loving of her, and it's like, oh, good to see you, but that other chick is not very pleased with her. It's like, you ran away and all pissy and all that, and Naomi demanded to see Philip, and they refused. They're like, you don't deserve to see him, blah 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 blah. But eventually Philip did came, and their meeting clearly did not go well. In fact, it's kind of reminiscent of Alex's storyline. A parent who abandoned the kid, and the kid being upset. Although in Alex's case, it's more of the ex-wife that's upset rather than the kid, which I already mentioned in the previous video. But here it's the kid that's really upset. But it's different in that it was a much longer span of time. It was like 20 years or something, and also, well, maybe not 20, I know people will correct, maybe 15, but it's been a long time, maybe 10 years. Anyway, whatever, however long it's been, it was a long time. And also it's different from Alex's thing because there was a good reason Naomi left, whereas Alex just wanted to be out on the stars, but Naomi was being manipulated by her husband to kill people. And Naomi wanted to take Philip with her, but Marco hid him away and specifically stole him from her. But of course, Philip won't understand that. He doesn't see it that way because he was raised by his father, and his father raised him to see things through his perspective, which was that Naomi was a coward who ran away rather than raise him, leaving out all the information that Naomi didn't want to be involved in this toxic relationship, and she wanted to raise Philip, but Marco wouldn't allow it. So it's a bit more different and complex, and it brings a sense of tragedy to the story, especially the way that Philip rejects her, and she's like, oh, I have a ship and you can just run away, you don't have to go with me, just get away from Marco so you're safe. And his response, of course, is fuck you, because Naomi isn't aware of just how deep Philip is involved. As we saw in the first episode, he's raiding in his science ships and killing innocent scientists. So he's deep in this, and of course he was also involved in getting this stealth technology for the asteroids, which is probably a much bigger deal. Philip repays her by raiding her ship and shocking her, and they're stealing their ship. And he's like, thanks for the ship, but Philip decides we're going to leave Naomi on board and put her in the quarters, and the other woman is like, oh, we shouldn't do that, but it's like, no. And you see the big guy when he's carrying Naomi away, he's like, oh, sorry about this. You can see that he still really likes her, but no, apparently they are taking her captive on their journey, wherever that may be. So again, interesting thread. See where it goes. Now, Avasarala is conferring with, I think, Admiral Delgado, I believe his name is, and they have a theory that Marco threw those rocks that hit Venus at Earth, and that he's prepared to do it again, and they get an expert in and sort of leave him in the dark, but they just give him to give his expert opinion, which aligns with their theory. But Gal thinks it's just a crazy conspiracy theory. So Avasarala wants Delgado to get the watchtower, which is the technology that looks for stealth, that can uncover stealth technology, and sort of pointed towards the belt or towards Marco or whatever. But at the moment they're pointed directly towards Mars, but she's like, Mars is not a threat right now, because Mars is the only power known to have stealth tech, but little do they know that this stealth tech is being sold on the black market. Of course, Avasarala knows this because she's also in touch with Bobby Draper. But they consider her, it's funny because they just consider it a wild conspiracy theory, where I think she has a lot of evidence, especially her connection to Bobby Draper. I think Gal's just being spiteful, really. And so when the Admiral guy tried to convince someone else to turn the watchtower, they're like, no, because we think you're just a mouthpiece for Avasarala's conspiracy theories, and they had Nancy Gal's, chief of staff contact him and be like, stop doing her bidding or whatever. And she keeps saying to him, you know that I'm right. And then she gets a transmission from Fred Johnson, which he passes along that message from Marco that Asteroid recorded that Drummer had passed along to Fred Johnson, so he passed along to Avasarala, and that's pretty damning evidence. It's nearly the smoking gun, but as it turns out, it's too late. As we see, one of the asteroids go right past the asteroid spotters and collided Earth, and we see that nice little scene with the guy fishing, or is he looking? I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's spotting fish on the beach, and he sees that. And I like it. It's really cool cinematography how this showed like the asteroid hitting the ocean through like the reflection on his glasses, but then you see that whole huge shockwave like right towards him and kill him. Like, very, very, very powerful stuff. Now, this does make me sort of regret that they didn't drop the whole season at once, or at least maybe do the first 4 episodes. But I'm the one who wanted. I called for over and over again, let's do one at a time, and so I had to deal with the consequences. But really, I do like. I do like being able to talk about it week to week, and being able able to sit with it. And everyone else is forced as well to sit with it rather than getting everything at once or going at your own pace or whatever, because I think that does mess up conversation. But god damn it, I want to see the next episode so badly. But hey, I'm the one that asked to wait a week, so I'm going to be happy waiting a week for that. God, what a powerful ending. So my rating for Mother out of 10, I think I'm going to give this an 8 as well. I think this is probably my least favorite of the 3. I was tempted to give it a 7, but no, I'm going to give this an 8 as well. I think they're all 8s. They're all really good or extremely good. Yeah, and this one was a little bit slower, but then it had some really great character moments with Naomi, the tragedy with Drummer dealing with Asteroid's death and the guilt involved. And of course, that fucking ending. Oh my god. Very powerful. So that's it for my review of Mother. I shall return next week, another week, to cover The Expanse, which I'll cover every week. But also, be sure to check out my live stream that I'm doing tomorrow night, Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific West Coast time. I'll be joined by Darren from D's Reviews, and my sister Alyssa we will be talking about all 3 of these episodes. It should be a robust conversation. You can join us in the chat live or watch us afterwards in the archives. The link to that video will be in the description below. Also, be sure to check out my channel as I cover many other shows like Discovery, Star Trek, Breaking Bad, The Outer Limits, and more. So be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.